forget.
But it's like this is enough as a training. Osita.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. See, why I'm saying this is like I probably receive nothing less than 50 calls every day. And one of the major challenges I see is we just landed in Canada. We don't know what to do. Or we've been here for a few months now. We are struggling right now. The money we have is difficult to even pay rent, blah, 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 blah. So you have all those kind of, manner of, communication and information coming. So my take to you guys today, every one of us here that is within that particular space where you are trying to figure out, but you are still within a survival mode, but you are still having that, reluctance, to step out. I want to say to you, it's time to step out. It's time to what? Step out. Please, that is what I'm pleading with you now. On behalf of your children and your family and extended family, you step out, you're able to influence your family at the end of the day. But if you continue within $15 per hour job, when will you give your children the kind of life you want to give to them? Let us get out of the fear zone and move into the growth zone. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. That fear zone, nothing grows. And trust me, most times those fear you are seeing are a mirage. You are just afraid of nothing. You are just like, just being afraid of nothing. But when you step out, you begin to see how you can enrich your capability. Because I've always told Black professionals we are much more. Every time we can do more than we think we can do. That's the truth. But we don't realize it most of the times. Okay? So please take charge of your career today. On the chat, I want to see those positive affirmations. I will take charge of my career. Can you drop it on the chat? We love starting with great positive affirmation. Because when you say things, there's a way, there's a way it knock off that inertia, that delay, that mindset of I cannot. It's going to knock it off straight away. And you begin to see yourself, asking yourself, okay, what else do I do? When you begin to ask yourself that kind of question, that is when answers will begin to come. Because that is when you might pick up a phone to say, let me even call Osita, or let me call somebody in Black Tech, or let me join this community, or let me even do this program. At the end of the day, it is for you to step up. Oya, raise your hands and speak it well. I will take charge of my career. Palliative. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. So thanks every one of you for coming. We've got over 200 folks here. That is incredible. Thanks once again for coming, and really appreciate every one of you making our time to come today. What I'm going to do right now, let me 1 second, because of noise at the background, we'll just try to meet everyone, and we'll try as much as possible to use the chat function. Then, if of course when you have a question, we can unmute you. Okay, so we've done that. So then let's quickly get to 1 second. Okay, cool. This is fine. Okay, cool. So let me share my screen quickly, just briefly, just to say a few things. Because some of us probably are just joining for the very first time, and you're wondering what's going on here. 1 second. Just give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Okay, so all right. So I believe you can see all see my screen. If you can, please on the chat, just say yay. If you can see my screen, just say yay on the chat, please. Yay. Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Great. So let's quickly get sorry, just give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Can we still see my screen? Just say yeah if you can. Okay, you can. Okay, I can see Mary nodding her head. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So Black Tech. So again, what is Black Tech all about? Because it's important that we kind of understand what we are trying to do. As an ecosystem, we have seen so many possibilities. And most of these possibilities has to do with the fact that Black professionals can actually pivot into tech with their transferable skills in order to what? Gain the salary they deserve. You are working 40K, 50K, 60, 70, 80K kind of job, and you think probably there's a ceiling over your head. Tech might be the way for you, because in tech, most times there is no ceiling. It all depends on you, how far you are able to drive yourself. The beauty of tech is that most tech jobs these days even allow you to work from home. The beauty of tech as well is the fact that tech also allow you to work on multiple projects. It is commonplace in our community today where people are working on multiple projects, earning 200 and something thousand, 300 and something thousand per annum. So you can do anything in terms of leveraging your skills and capability to earn the kind of salary that you want to earn. That's the beauty of tech. So Black Tech is focused on fighting underemployment. How do we fight underemployment? Is through capacity building, building the capacity of Black people. When you have skills, everybody will be able to listen to you. Well, it's not about your skin color anymore. It's about what does this guy have to say. That is what Black Tech is trying to do. Then, of course, for us to do that, I've got great minds at the leadership team working with me to make this happen. Most of you might see us as the face of Black Tech, but we've got great guys working behind the scene with me, with 40 other plus team members and faculties making things happen within this community. We've also got strategic partnerships with different companies today. RBC Bank sponsored our tech conference last month. They also hired 7 of our students last 3 months. And there are so many other partnerships with organizations. Just yesterday, we had a meeting with Career Edge, and something big is coming, where we are looking at internship opportunities for Black professionals. So this is not something that one company will do alone, and that is where strategic partnership comes in. Then we are making progress. You can see we are talking about 6 strategic objectives: career acceleration, entrepreneurship, leadership, youth programs, diversity, then Black Tech Academy. Out of the 6 core areas of Black Tech, we are only, this program that we are having right now is within the academy side of things, which is what? Talking about education, tech programs that we can all get into to do very well in. And of course, we got different programs going on right now. If you look at the screen right now, all these programs have been carefully developed over the years. Great impact, business analysis plus project. You cannot say I've done a business analysis without any project. You get into the job, you are confused. Why? Because you lack depth. Business analysis is not grammar, it's not literature. There must be projects in order to what? In order for you to gain the experiential knowledge. That experiential knowledge helps you with confidence, and that confidence helps you to secure jobs. Data analytics, the same thing. Cybersecurity, Scrum Master, 100% hands-on, which is part of what we want to talk about today. Project management with hands-on as well. AWS cloud computing with 50 labs. You can never finish it, and your life will remain the same in cloud computing. It's not possible. DevOps, 6 months program on DevOps. Salesforce, Python, CBAP, and full stack, and SQL for tech professional that we just started 3 weeks ago. Free. We want to get professionals to learn how to use SQL. Hands-on program that today many are benefiting from and enhancing their capabilities. Okay, this is me. And I think I am qualified to speak to you guys. And I'm also qualified to speak to you as a career strategist. I started my career as a business analyst. From there, I moved to IBM, where I work in management consulting, also work within SAP space, work within CRM, Salesforce CRM space. Then, of course, I at some point moved into cybersecurity. And of course, also have done a couple of work and projects on Scrum, Agile project management, and today I'm a tech leader with an energy company here in Ontario. So I think I've got some little bit of experience, So when I speak, I'm not just speaking, but I'm speaking from a position of knowledge. So please, if you are struggling, reach out. The email is here on the screen. A team member will reach out, or if you want to speak with me specifically, mention that you want to speak with Osita when you send the email. Email is info@blacktechhub.org. Okay, I can set up a session. Sorry, not a session. Yeah, one-on-one meeting with you, 30 minutes or less to discuss, to kind of hear from you, understand your current situation, understand your challenges, and from there we can actually see what we can do to help you. Last week, we gave a woman 100% scholarship to attend one of the programs. She called, and you know what? She was crying on the phone. One of my team transferred the call to me. I asked her, "Madam, what is the problem? Why are you crying?" She started talking about the challenges she's facing. She's going through divorce. All the money she has made is going through the lawyer that is helping her with the divorce case. And I was now thinking, when did you come to Canada? She told me 2017. Then how many years from now? 5 years? And divorce? Like, what is going on? Do you know that this is not the only case of divorce that we have even had in our community? I don't know what is going on. There are cases like that we've had. And that is why at this point, I'm also praying for every family at this time. Okay? Please, and also encouraging us, the men here, the women here, let's try as much as possible to support ourselves. Things can be a little bit tight sometimes, but it doesn't call for too much pressure on each other that will probably lead to the extent of saying, okay, I know do it again. Let us try as much as possible. Encourage one another. Let us, work together to achieve the success that we've come here to achieve. Okay? Let me stop here, guys, so that we can quickly go into the meat of the program today. At this point, we are going to be inviting our speaker for today. He's a guy that he eats, sleeps, drinks, agile. Wake him up middle of the night, agile. The day of his wedding, he was on agile project on the day of his wedding. People had to plead with him and say, "Oh God, please, this is wedding now. Leave this agile. This is wedding. Focus on wedding first." When he was going on honeymoon, agile, the wife was like, this is honeymoon now. He's a great guy. That's what I'm trying to say in essence. His name is Stephen Omojuyiwe. So he's going to come on board, and go through a few introduction about himself. He is also the one that will be taking on the Agile Immersion program at Black Tech. It's one of our great faculties. And he's going to be making justice to this program that is starting on Sunday. Sunday is what? That is Sunday, yeah, 18th. 18th of this month, we are having a 2-month agile program. But before that program, we felt it's important to have this session in order to help many fully understand, especially those that are just going in within that space, just to understand what agile is all about. And of course, this is a great opportunity for you to ask all your questions and then get Stephen to help, answer all these things for you. Okay? All right, Stephen, if you are here, yes, I can see you. Please take it away from me, because if you allow me, I will just continue.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Osita. Our people will say your mouth sweet. Your mouth sweet, no be small.
See, in this journey, great motivation is required. That is why you cannot finish a Black Tech program and lack confidence. It's not possible. You cannot go in front of hiring manager for interview and you are doing, you can't do that. You can't. That confidence must come by fire, by force, because that is the basic thing you need to secure these 6-figure jobs. All right, let's get Stephen to do his thing.
All right, so welcome everybody. Good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Stephen, like Osita has said, and I work as an agile enterprise safe consultant. I currently support 25 agile teams on 2 different hubs. I used to support 35 teams. Recently, thankfully, I was able to get someone else to take over 10 teams. And I have not always lived Agile, but right now I live Agile. I talk Agile. I do Agile is very, very close to my heart. I'll tell you a quick story before I get into it. No, I'll tell you the story later. Let's get straight into it so that you will, we can make the best use of our time. Now, I will talk about how you can position yourself to get a job later, but I just want to spend the next 10, 15 minutes to help everybody understand what Agile means. At least when you use the word, you should understand, or you should know what it means, or when you hear it, even if you don't decide to go into that tech space. And the best way to understand Agile as far as software development is concerned is to contrast it with the solution it replaced, right? If you contrast it with the solution it replaced, and if you understand the problem it was supposed to solve, then you will have a better understanding and grasp of it. And pay attention to everything I'm saying, because even if you don't join the immersion program, maybe because you've taken some trainings before, apart from supporting the 25 teams I spoke to you about, I'm also in our Agile Center of Excellence. So I'm responsible for thought leadership and the creation of standards and frameworks. And that include a whole rejigging of our hiring process and how we select Scrum Masters. I also take part regularly in interviewing Scrum Masters. And some of the things I'm going to be telling you are kind of inside track knowledge, because we know that people are doing 1 week program, 2 days program, getting certificates and presenting themselves as Scrum Masters. We know that already. And it takes less than 2 minutes, believe you me, 2 minutes when I interview folks to find out those who don't really have understanding. The way they use vocabulary, the words they say, the way they mix the terms, and like Yorubas will say, you know, just mix things up. It's very easy for me to clearly know that this person does not really know what they are talking about. So I'm going to be speaking to you from all of that experience, the experience of someone who's been a Scrum Master, an RTE, a coach at team level, a coach at program level, also a coach at enterprise level. I'm going to be speaking to you from all of that experience, so please pay attention. So if you don't, even if you don't join the program, you will take a lot out of this. Now, like I said, one of the ways to really understand Agile is to understand the solution it was designed or created to replace, and to understand the problem it was developed to solve. Now, traditionally, software development follows what we call the waterfall or traditional method, which was a fruit from engineering. Pay attention now. Now, you know that computer science and software development relatively it's a new area. Computer science is less than 70 years old as a discipline. And so the progenitor of software engineering is traditional classical engineering. So I'm talking about shop floor manufacturing, car manufacturing, and all of those hardware manufacturing. And in all of those domains, there is a way you engineer products. First, you have to understand what you're building. You have to understand the ask, the requirements, and you have to understand them in detail. Because remember, you're going to be cutting steel, you're going to be machining components, and you cannot finish machining a component before you know what other component is going to fix or is going to be fitted to. So you really got to really understand in very, very minute detail exactly what you're building. And so that's requirements gathering. And then once you have finished gathering the requirements in detail, you can then go ahead and design. And then you can then build whatever it is, a car, a trailer, whatever it is. And then you can then test it, and hopefully it works, and then you have a working product. Now, that traditional approach, and it was engineers who used to teach computer science and who used to teach software development. That traditional approach, or what we call the waterfall approach, was how software development began. So basically, you have to think end to end in terms of what the software is supposed to do and the solution the system is supposed to deliver. And you have to write very detailed requirements documentation. And sometimes it could take you a quarter of the project life allocated time, and sometimes maybe a third of the budget. And all you're going to get after spending a quarter of the time and probably a third of the budget will be lots of documents, piles of requirements documentation. And then you take those requirements documentation, you give it to those who design. And then they create design specifications for you. And it's still, what you get is a bunch of documents, like you see in the slide. So this time around, you are probably 3/4 of the money is spent. Maybe 80% of the time is gone. And all you still have is a bunch of documents, paper. And then only then do you start to really actually write code and really develop the software. And by that time, mostly you've run out of money, you run out of time. And sometimes the competitive landscape, the market environment has changed, and your product is late. And believe me, and now there's a story I'm going to share with you. Millions of dollars, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars of projects that were done like that had to be scrapped by the time you get to the point where you have a system you can validate. The system is no longer useful. Now, at some point in my life, I tried to build a software as a service business together with some friends. And we hired these software developers out of Ukraine, struggled to put some money together, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And they were building us this software, except that the story that I tell, right, happened to me. By the time they delivered the MVP, if you don't know what that is, I'll tell you what it is later. By the time they delivered the MVP, the technology platform on which they built our software was going to be extinct. And we needed to rebuild the software all over again from the ground up. Apart from the fact that there were so many bugs and so many problems in the algorithm, at the end of the day, we had to completely scrap that whole project. We didn't make a single cent out of that project. And it had cost us about $80,000. So this was how traditional software used to be built traditionally. And then a group of guys began to think about it and say, we can't continue to build software like this. And in different places all around the United States, different ideas were being put forward on how to solve these problems that I just described. And in 2001 in Utah, these guys came together, about 17 of them. They formed the Agile Alliance, and they introduced or they coalesced these different ways of building software in answer to these problems. And that's what we know today as Agile. And now, basically in Agile, like I said, the best way to understand it is to understand the solution it was meant to replace and to understand the problems it evolved to solve. Now, basically the difference in Agile, from what I just described, which is the waterfall model, is that we do the same things. We gather requirements, we design, we build or implement or develop, whichever one you want to say, we verify, except that we do them in chunks or in iterations. So If we have, and this is a loose analogy, it's not a very good one, but just for this introductory part. So if we have 10-story building, instead of waiting to build the 10 stories and erect all the structure before we start to finish, we choose to do a small part. We gather the requirements, we design, we implement, and we verify. And we release a product, something that is useful to the customer. And we start to realize the benefits of that product right from the first iteration. And then the next iteration, we build a larger solution, we build another increment of the solution, couple it with the one we had before. And at every iteration, the solution is growing. And again, at the end, we deliver the same solution. But this time around, instead of waiting for one big bang launch that may go well or not, we're learning all the lessons in fast feedback cycles all through the iterations. Our risk is lower, it's better controlled. We start to realize economic value very early in the life cycle, and so many other benefits. Now, this is what it means to be agile. When you get into the industry today, you find a lot of people who argue against agility. The truth of the matter is that there is no argument against being agile. No one can successfully argue against being agile, because agile, or to be agile, is a mindset. It's a set of values and principles that are really very self-validating. There's really no way you can argue against them. However, and this is where I said, once people begin to talk, 3 minutes, you already know if they understand what they're saying or not. However, there are several frameworks that honor agile principles. There are several methodologies that are built that honor agile principles. And that is where Scrum and all the other ones come in. But so agile development, which again, like I said, no one can argue against it, is a general term that represents a way of thinking, that's a mindset, a set of values and principles, and a set of practices that favor iterative, that is that fast feedback cycle I said, iterative development that puts the customer at the center of it. There is no argument against it. However, there are several agile frameworks. And so when people argue against being agile, what you find is that what they're really arguing against is one framework or the other, because none of the framework is perfect. I am a SAFe program consultant, and there's a lot of bad press about SAFe. And even those of us who as consultants know what the problem with SAFe is. We know what the limitations of SAFe are. None of the frameworks are perfect, but all of them are valuable, right? Now, so when you say agile, you're talking about a mindset, a set of values, a set of principles. But if you have values and principles and you don't have a way to operationalize it, it doesn't really serve you or benefit you in any way. It's like going to church and hearing a fantastic sermon, and you don't really know what to do with the sermon. All right, you need a way to operationalize any kind of inspiration you get. Like the inspiration Osita has given you, which is wonderful, which is necessary. My part now is to show you things to do to operationalize those inspiration. So agile is a way of seeing, it's a set of values and principles. The frameworks are the way you operationalize and get them to work. And then there's agile development, the mindset and values and principles. There are agile frameworks, SAFe, Scrum, Crystal, Kanban, extreme programming, feature-driven development, all kinds. And there are two kinds of agile frameworks. There are agile frameworks that are designed for team level execution, and there are scaling agile frameworks that are designed for program and portfolio enterprise level execution. You don't need to worry yourself about that too much. Then, so we have agile development, then we have agile framework, then we have agile practices. Now, not all the frameworks define all of the practices, but there are certain practices that are common to all of the frameworks. And those are some of the practices you find on the screen. I don't want to get into too much details about that. I'm just giving you an introduction into what I really want to share with you. So, Agile is not Scrum, but Scrum is Agile. Sometimes I say it like that, and people are like, what are you saying? Agile is not Scrum. Agile is more than Scrum. But Scrum is Agile because Scrum honors Agile principles. So Agile is not the same as Scrum. Scrum is just one of the frameworks that are built on Agile principles. However, by a wide margin, Scrum is the leading Agile framework. And you can see that on the chart that I have there. By a wide margin, Scrum is the leading Agile framework. You can see that it's 58% Scrum. And if you had Scrum Band, which is an hybrid between Scrum, an hybrid of Scrum and Kanban, if you add that to the mix, Scrum is 68%, maybe 70% of all, all companies that do one Agile framework or the other, 68% of them do Scrum. And the reason Scrum is so popular is simple. It is lightweight. That means it is very, very easy to understand. In fact, it's because it's easy to understand that it's kind of bastardized right now in the industry where everybody says they're a Scrum Master. All you need to do is read a couple of pages, sit down and write a PSM exam, which you can be looking at your book, or your friend can be telling you the answer, get a PSM certification, and put your hands in the air and say you're a Scrum Master, right? It is that simple. And I'm not going to kid you, it is very simple. I can teach you Scrum in 2 hours, right? But that's not going to get you a job, but we're going to come to that later. I'm just telling you why it's very popular. It's very popular because it's lightweight, it's simple. And what I want to do is just, for those of you who already know Scrum, you know the framework already. So basically you have a backlog. A backlog is simply a list of work to do, all right? A prioritized list of work to do. And then at the beginning of a sprint, which is the time box within which all Scrum activities happen, which can range from 2 months, 2 weeks to 4 months, to 4 weeks or even more. At the beginning of that sprint, the team comes together with the product owner and the Scrum Master, which are the two specialized roles in Scrum. And they plan the iteration, they plan the work to do for the next 2 weeks by bringing some of the items in their to-do list, which is the team backlog or product backlog, and bring it into another list, which is their sprint plan. Some details around that I'm not going to go into right now. And then once they have started the sprint, by bringing in those to-do items, they start to work on those to-do items. And every morning, they do what is called a daily Scrum, which is a 15-minute meeting where they just come together to kind of find out if they are on track. At the end of 2 weeks, hopefully they have produced what I like to call a potentially shippable increment of value, which simply means something the client can use, something the customer can use. At the end of that 2 weeks, hopefully they have produced that. They come into a sprint review meeting, which basically allows them to show the work they have done and get feedback from the stakeholders the business people or whoever it is they built it for. And then afterwards, they do what is called a sprint retrospective, which basically they focus on their processes and try to improve it. There you are, 2 minutes Scrum. You know Scrum already. That is it. It's not more than that. Except that it is very much more than that. And that's where the program that you have been, intimated of is going to help you build on this simple foundation and really create for you a confidence that allows you to sit in front of any Agile practitioner and speak to Agile and Scrum from a project perspective and get a job. But before then, I want to share with you a quick story of why Agile and Scrum is very popular, especially in the US. And this again speaks to what I said at the beginning as to why Agile was, the solution or the problem Agile was designed to solve. So in 2002, United States FBI, they tried to transition from the paper-based case management system to digital case management with the virtual case VCF system. It was called the Sentinel Project. You can Google it even as I'm speaking, and you can verify all the facts I'm about to share with you. Because up until that time, if you watch some of those old detective films, FBI agents, the case file used to be in vanilla files, paper and that brown file. And that's what they use. But that's ineffective. It's inefficient, right? A lot of criminals were getting off the hook because they have case files where it's lost. I mean, it reminds you of Panty in Lagos, where they can't find a case file. So they decide to digitize that whole system. And what did they do? They get SAIC Consulting. SAIC Consulting is a very popular United States contractor. Some of you might work there, might be working there. But SAIC got the first contract. And they built a group, a huge team of 200 people. And they were going to have a single go live event where they have delivered the whole system, and then you turn it on and everything is live, and boom, we're good to go. Except that, after 4 years, because they were doing what for, after 4 years, the VCF system has not been delivered. 700,000 lines of code have been written and rewritten. 400 change requests resulting in 600 additional pages of requirements had been done, but there was no working system after 4 years. And of course, they had run out of budget. They spent $400 million, and that whole thing was thrown into the trash can. So they started it all over again. This time around, they awarded the contract to Lockheed Martin, a new contract, totally new, in 2005. That is after $400 million had been spent by SAIC that delivered nothing. So the US government awarded another contract for $305 million. And eventually they paid another $120 million to the FBI people themselves for project management. So a total of $425 million. You think it's only in Africa they waste money. Another $425 million was spent by Lockheed Martin. And guess what? Nothing was delivered again. That is another 4 years, nothing was delivered. And they had spent beyond the 425, another 120 million, making 530 million. And guess what? Lockheed was fired. And that whole project was thrown into the dustbin. Very much like my project that was thrown into the dustbin, except that we only spent $80,000. And then Ken Schwaber, one of the creators of Scrum, was called in. And Ken came in with only 45 staff. Remember, SAIC started with 200 people. Lockheed Martin had 300 contractors. He came in with 45 staff. And using Scrum, in 1 year, it delivered the Sentinel. When you read this story, it's almost unbelievable that you could spend almost $1 billion, 8 years, and have nothing to show for it. And then some guy walks in, spends less than $50 million in 1 year, and delivers the product that you could not deliver before. But that is the power of Scrum. Because instead of spending so much time trying to design the whole system, Ken took a few requirements, built it quickly, rolled it out, got feedback. And every 2 weeks, they will build a couple more features, and nobody was stressed. They didn't have to pay so many people to do the job. That's why in almost every United States government today now, every single project is trying to go agile. And that is why there is such a massive demand, especially in the DMV, for Scrum Masters, for business analysts, for people who can do this kind of job. If you click into LinkedIn right now and check for Scrum Master jobs in the United States alone, you will see a total not less than 120,000 jobs that are available. Every single day, my LinkedIn inbox is filled with recruiters offering me jobs because of my agile skill set. So what we're trying to say to you is real. Agile is used to deliver software projects in such effective ways, in such economic way, that it's mad, if not absolutely psychotic, for anyone to try and build software and not do it in an agile way. If I had understood agile when I was trying to build my software product, I probably would have become a millionaire. Maybe I'll meet some of you guys. I'm just kidding. But you cannot do IT today. So I'm trying to let you see the use cases. There's nothing you're doing in IT today that you cannot do, or that you will not benefit from by doing it using agile, using an agile framework or using Scrum. You are easily able to produce what is called a minimum viable product. That means something that does not have everything in the product, but something that you can take to the market, people can begin to use, and you can begin to get feedback while you build and add more features. I was one of the early adopters, users of Facebook. I don't remember how many years ago now, almost 20 years. But I can still remember the Facebook of 20 years ago. It was a simple website where you could go, register, post your status, and maybe post pictures. There was nothing else you could do. But today's Facebook is a massive system with big subsystem that is part of it. Now, imagine that they try to build today's Facebook then. They will still be somewhere trying to build the product, and they'll still not have finished building it. Because every single time, and that's exactly what happened to me when we were building our product. As we were doing war room meetings and we were trying to brainstorm, somebody would catch another hot idea. Oh, let's add this feature. Then we call them in Ukraine, please add this feature. We had no idea what an MVP was supposed to be. So you can use it to build MVPs. You can use it for cloud transformation projects. You can do anything with Agile. If you're doing, in fact, even infrastructural projects now can be done Agile. And in fact, other domains outside IT are beginning to do Agile. So you can do Agile marketing. You can do Agile HR. Agile has come to stay. Maybe some new framework will come and beat Scrum in the future. But for now, Scrum is still the industry leader. If you come into this industry, if you pay the price and you learn this and you pay the price, and if village people are not overpowering your life, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to get a job. I will be lying if I say I guarantee you that you have a job, because I'm not the one to give you the job. But the demand is so huge. The demand is so huge that every day Scrum Masters are being hired, in spite of the fact that there are many tech jobs that are, many tech companies that are, letting people go. Every day, business analysts, Scrum Masters are getting hired. So the question is, what does it take to get a job as a Scrum Master? Some of you have done some PSM thing. There's nothing wrong with that. At least you've taken a step forward, and I congratulate you for doing that. Some of you have done some program here or there of varying lengths, and there's nothing wrong with that. At least you made some move forward. I want to talk to you now as a recruiter, someone who hires Scrum Masters. I also want to talk to you as an agile coach who is responsible for developing Scrum Masters within a top 5 global consulting firm. The development of our Scrum Masters is my responsibility. I go into their work. I know who is a good one. I make recommendations. So I'm talking to you from 2 perspectives. Someone who is responsible for building and developing Scrum Masters, and someone who is responsible for hiring them. What will it take for you to get a Scrum Master job? Let me run you through that real quick, and then I'll get out of your faces. Number 1, the first thing I look out for in recruiting a Scrum Master is not agile knowledge. It's not even Scrum knowledge. I don't start to talk to the person about Scrum or Agile until we're about halfway into the interview process. What I'm first looking for is a deep knowledge of the SDLC. So what's the SDLC? Let me give you this example. If you come to me and say you worked in a bakery for 3 years, and you worked in a bakery as a laborer, you were not a chef, you were not a baker, you were just a laborer. You helped them to pour in the flour, you help them to mix. Like, you're not the baker, but you are a labor hand in the bakery, and you worked there for 3 years. There are some things you will know about the baking process. If you don't know certain things about the baking process, I will know immediately you did not work in a bakery for 3 years. Believe you me, if you go to banks in those days in Nigeria, you see those security guys that are usually placed inside, that have worked in those banks for some years. If you talk to them about banking, you'll be shocked how much they know about banking. Just hanging around security. When you get inside, they will tell you that's where you get to fill a form. This is not where you go. They can talk to you about banking operations. And they're just security people who have been in the environment. It's the same thing. A Scrum Master works in the software baking environment. Now, if you don't know how software is made, and you tell me you've been a Scrum Master, I have walked out of interviews after 5 minutes, because the guy does not even know what SDLC means. You've been a Scrum Master for 5 years, you said, and you don't even know what SDLC means. This interview is over, guy. A deep knowledge of the SDLC. You have to understand how software is produced. If you don't know it, I'm not going to hire you. And many of the Scrum trainings you go to, they don't talk about the SDLC. Some of those students don't even know what they're talking about. They just read a book on Scrum, and they tell you that you can go and get a job, and that's why you don't have a job. Second, nobody becomes a Scrum Master as a first job in IT. Have you ever thought about that? You don't go to any college to learn about Scrum Mastering. Scrum Mastering is something you get into within the IT industry. So this is, and I told you, I'm giving you inside knowledge. Once I see someone's resume and he jumped from banking and is now a Scrum Master, I know he's lying. You don't do that from where to where. That way does not lead to that way. Every Scrum Master has some kind of history in the IT industry. Either you're a developer, you're a business analyst, you are a quality assurance person, or you are a project manager, or you have some consulting experience. So if you can't give me a path into Scrum Mastering that is believable, and you just tell me, I used to work on a boat, I used to work in healthcare for 5 years, and my very first job in IT is Scrum Mastering, I know it's not true. So I'm looking for a background in IT. It might even be IT support, but I'm looking for some background in IT. And if you don't have it, I am not likely to hire you, except you have some other things, because there are 7 things I'm going to share with you now. Number 3, project experience you can talk to with nuance. This is a big one. Project experience you can talk to with nuance. What do I mean by that? The Scrum framework is simple to understand, and it's simple to regurgitate when someone has taught you Scrum. But if you have used it in the project experience, there are certain nuances about the defined Scrum practices that you will have experienced. And if you can speak to some of those nuances, and I'm not going to share any now, but if you can speak to some of those nuances, I know you've not done Scrum for any length of time, if you've done it at all, because Scrum hardly can be executed frame by frame the way it's designed to be executed. Almost every organization, including a global organization like the one I work for, struggle with some aspect of Scrum. And as Agile coaches, we are there helping to steady the ship, making sure they don't derail too much. Now, if you can speak to some of those storms and some of those rough waters that you encounter within the enterprise, within the teams, as you do Scrum, I know you don't know the job. You only went to some 2-day school. Number 4, then I now talk to you about your Scrum or Agile knowledge. And so your knowledge of Scrum or Agile is the 4th thing that I consider in hiring Scrum Masters. In fact, and I'll be very honest with you, if you have those first 3 things, I can probably hire you and train you on Scrum within 2 weeks inside our enterprise. And we have done it before. So just learning Scrum, getting a CSM, and thinking you're a Scrum Master is a disservice to the job. And I'm sorry, but within our community, people want to get, like Osita has just described, people want 6-figure jobs, but they don't want to do any work to position themselves for it. They want to do a 2-day certification program. They want to do a 1-week course. No, come on now. Come on. And they don't want to pay any price, but they want to get 6-figure jobs. The 5th thing, and this is where something else Osita was talking to you about will really, really be important. To be an effective Scrum Master, a good one, not a bad one. There are lots of bad Scrum Masters, even where I work, we're trying to get them out. But to be a good Scrum Master, you need to have well-developed leadership and communication skill. It is a sine qua non. If you don't have well-developed leadership and communication skill, you will be Jira pushers. That's what we call them. All you know to do is just to move tickets in Jira. That's not what it means to be a Scrum Master. Scrum Master, excuse me, it's a leadership position. It requires a lot of communication skill. And so if you're coming from a background where you have led people, like some of those people I was talking about, you've been an HOP, head of operations in a bank, you've led people, you've worked under pressure, you've collaborated, you've gathered people, you've gotten them to perform. You are a good candidate for Scrum Master. If you have never led people, if you don't have highly developed communication skill, and you're coming into IT, honestly, if you ask me, I won't recommend Scrum Mastering to you. I'll recommend some other IT roles that allows you to work by yourself, not talk to anybody necessarily. But if any one of you that's been in middle management, you've advanced in your career, you've led people, Scrum Mastering is something, those skills can be really, really, really useful for you if you get the first 4 things up there. And they're very related to well-developed leadership and communication skill is an engaging personality. As a Scrum Master, you have to be able to engage your team. You have to be able to engage up and down the enterprise. You have to love, excuse me. You have to love communicating with people. In my job, I walk into, because I have access to almost all our teams, ceremonies, I have all of them on my calendar. I walk into your meeting, you're a Scrum Master, you are not on camera, you're not, I know you don't know what this job is, because as a Scrum Master, you lead from the front. So you must be someone who really wants to be with people, communicate, not someone who just want to do the minimum you can do and then hide. An engaging personality is one of the things I look for when I hire Scrum Masters. And then last is the relevant certification. Now, think about it. Certification is the 7th thing that I consider. But certification is what people put in front. They think once I have CSM, once I have PSM, I'm going to be hired. No way. No way. Certification does not mean anything. Anybody can get certified in anything. Especially as a Scrum Master, come on. It's very easy to get a certification. You don't even have to write the exams yourself before you have your name on a certificate, right? Certification is the last thing we think about. Is the last thing we look out for. We don't really, and in where I work, we don't even look at PSMs. We do look at CSM, but what we really look for is the SAFE certification, which is a little bit rigorous to get. But even that one is easy to get. But these other 6 things, these are the things we're really looking for. So if you have been out there trying to become a Scrum Master and you have done some certification thing, good. I'm not discounting it, and I'm not saying it's not relevant. But there's a reason why you have not been able to get jobs. Most organizations are ready to certify you, to send you to the training to get certified. Certification is not the primary thing. It is a deep knowledge of the SDLC. You have to understand software development. You have to be able to speak to it. You have to understand a few things about testing. After all, you've been a Scrum Master, you said. You have to understand basic things around how programming works, how you build programs, how you build software, some basic languaging, the vocabulary of the trade, right? You cannot be talking about software development like a roadside mechanic. Or that thing with data engine, with the roll. It's talking about the crankshaft. Like, speak the language. That's all it takes. I'm not saying you should be a programmer, but you have to have the vocabulary to communicate in that industry. So, the program we're inviting you to starts with the SDLC. Teach you how software is built and developed. Might even teach you 1 or 2 lines of Python coding. Everybody will be able to say, I may have a little Python skill, not a lot, in your interview, which really will impress your interviewers. You have to, you'll be able to speak to some quality assurance processes, right? You'll be able to speak to the different ways software is validated. That's where we're going to start from. And then, if you have not done the Black Tech Business Analyst program, and you don't have any background in IT, I will really say to you, don't do this program. Don't do Scrum Master program. Go and do the Business Analyst program. If you don't have any understanding of software development, no background in IT whatsoever, go and do a BA program. If you don't want to be a BA, that's fine. But go and do a BA program so that when you tell your story, you will say, I was a BA, because you're going to do BA projects. And when you do Scrum, it would be like the BA was the first thing you did in your career in IT, and Scrum is what you do now. But if you do have some Scrum Master experience, or you have done their BA program, or you have any kind of experience in IT, even if it is just simple tech support jobs you did, then you have the background, you will be able to speak to it, and we can train you to fulfill requirement number 2. Requirement number 3 also, from day 1, we'll start to teach you about the nuances around Scrum execution. Because there is a Scrum framework, there is the execution, and there are lots of nuances around execution. We'll show you the anti-patterns. We'll show you the ones that can kill the project, the ones that you can survive with. But then, not all of these things are we going to spoon feed you, because I like to be very honest. Some will just open it up and then give you the resources to go and learn. Because if we were to teach you all of these in detail, it would be a 6-month program that nobody wants to go to or nobody wants to pay for. But you will have enough to whet your appetite that if you're serious, give you the direction, you can learn, and you will be able to speak to Scrum with all manners of nuance. And any kind of star question that comes around, anything around Scrum, you will have several stories you can tell. And I'm very, very generous with my stories, my work stories. I tell them a lot when I teach. Then, of course, we'll teach you basic Scrum and Agile from the fundamentals, from the principles, so that you understand it and you know what you're talking about. Teach you some leadership and communication skill. The last 2 I cannot give you. I can't give you an engaging personality, unfortunately. But I can show you how to overcome some psychological barriers to becoming an engaging person. Because everybody can actually become an engaging person. You just need to overcome some psychological barriers. We'll touch about that a little in this program. And then you all know where you can get your certification. You go out there and get your certification. So this is a packed program. It is so packed that you will need to do a lot of work outside class. But we will dimension all of these for you. And believe you me, when you sit in front of an interviewer and you're speaking, there will be no one who will have a doubt that you are who you say you are. That's the offer. That's what we're making available. It's 6 weeks. It's intensive. It's hands-on. You're going to get access to Confluence and Jira. You're going to be working on it real time, right? You're going to, experience a minimum of 2 sprints. You're going to experience all the ceremonies. So we have people who have gone through this and who are right now engaged. A couple of them will be speaking to you. So this is the real deal. Osita, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting some. Can you hear me well, guys? If you can hear me, can you say yeah on the chat? Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So, Stephen, I mean that was incredible. Thanks so very much for unpacking some of this. And I love that final slide where you talked about some of the skills required. Someone was asking, are you now saying that, oh, if I don't have IT background, I cannot do Scrum? No. So it's important that we fully understand the communication. Very important. Understand the communication. Nobody has said without IT background, you cannot do Scrum. Nobody has said that. So let's try as much as possible to listen, to understand. That will really help. Again, if you listen to Steve very well, he talked about, for example, head of operation, right? Head of operation, that's the person have been in leadership, influencing, collaboration. Somebody like that have developed a lot of soft skills, but she cannot just jump and start applying for Scrum Master. She can't. You get into that environment, how do you communicate? Operations in bank is different from software building. So how do you even communicate with the rest of the team? That is where the training is important. And the training is not for you to go and do 2 days training and say, I'm now a Scrum Master. That is part of what Steven is trying to communicate. It's important. Because when you say, oh, I know somebody that doesn't have IT background, but he's a Scrum Master, do you know what the person went through? And these are some of the challenges that sometimes we think there's a shortcut. That person that have moved into Scrum Master must have done certain trainings. It could be personal training, it could be through mentorship with some other person, or what have you. But the person have done some work. That is the bottom line. But if, for example, you have been into project management, you have been into business analysis, you can pivot into Scrum Master seamlessly because you have already developed those skills and capabilities that will help you on the job. Let us try to always understand that sometimes there is no shortcut to some of these things. Why I'm saying so is because speaking with so many, I've seen folks that say, oh, I've done PSM, I have PSM certificate, I'm looking for a Scrum Master job. Okay, madam, what is your background? Oh, my background is maybe psychology. And after psychology, I work as customer service. After customer service, I wrote PSM. Then I'm looking for Scrum Master. How do you get a job like that? Let's be realistic. I know we are, especially Africans, Nigerians, a majority here might probably be Nigerians. We are quite religious. Everything we want to attribute it to faith or miracle. No, you can't just have a mass communication or psychology background, then next thing you work as a customer service, for instance, and next thing you do 2 days training, have PSM, then you are now looking for a Scrum Master job. And the question is that I've been looking for a job, I didn't get a job. The problem is that you haven't armed yourself with the necessary skills that will help you to get that job. So let's also always try to put things in perspective. I spoke with a guy that says he wants to do DevOps. Black Tech offers DevOps program, 6 months. Now, Olga, what did you study in school? Oh, I studied what did you even study? I studied public administration. That was the feedback. Public administration, okay. What about your work experience? Because that is our way. We want to know your background to be able to guide you. After public administration, what did you do? Oh, after public administration, I work with Procter & Gamble in Nigeria as a sales manager. Oh, fantastic. Sales manager. Then in Canada, what are you doing right now? In Canada, I have not really gotten a job, but some of my friends told me to do DevOps. Can you imagine that? Public administration, sales manager, now you want to do DevOps. You will struggle in the class. It's not magic. It's not like somebody is discouraging you. And that is why today there is something called negative acceleration. And I see that happen to so many professionals. What does that mean? You are doing well back in your home country. You come into this country, instead of accelerating your career, it's like the career is going backward. Why? You have not sat down to really think on the right strategy or the right thing to do. Because somebody is doing DevOps does not mean you will do it. That person doing it have gotten some background, maybe that has prepared the person to excel in DevOps. DevOps is like 4 IT program, IT domain joined into one. You're going to be doing cloud computing, server administration, network administration, Linux operating system, some programming in one program. That is why it's 6 months. And you are moving from sales manager to do DevOps. Why? Because somebody told me to do DevOps. It doesn't always work that way. Let's be realistic. So it's very important for us to, specifically understand our core strengths, our transferable skills, where you have coming from, and that will help you to accelerate your career. I've spoken to a lady as well. These are all experiences that said to me, when I came to Canada, my cousin in the US told me to do DevOps. DevOps again, for some reason, it's just coming up as an example. Now she went and enrolled for a DevOps program somewhere, 6 months. 3 months into the program, she dropped out. She couldn't continue. Then she spoke with somebody that said, go and do cybersecurity because cybersecurity is in high demand. She went and registered for cybersecurity somewhere. After a couple of months into cybersecurity, she came out, she was confused. Should I apply for a job or I should not apply for a job? Lack of confidence. Until finally somebody gave her my number, she reached out and we started talking. Wrong advice. Wrong advice. If I had spoken with her in the first place, never will I talk about DevOps to her ears. Even if your uncle asks you to do it, no, it is not suited for you. You need to develop some foundation that will help you to now accelerate your career. So all these things, sometimes we need to understand there are no magic in some of this. It's not because the program pays $150,000, then because of that you want to jump into it. That is why some people struggle. Ask yourself now, if you are struggling in whatever program you are doing or job, ask yourself, did you build the necessary roots and foundation that will help you to succeed on that job? If you don't have the necessary root and foundation, you will struggle. Before this meeting, a lady called me. Please, also, I want to speak with you. What is the problem? I am struggling on my job. That was his comment. Okay, don't worry. Call me tomorrow. I gave her the time when she's going to call. People struggle when they don't have the necessary foundation. So stop the idea of shortcuts. Build the necessary roots. Get the necessary experience that is required. Then see how your career will soar. You will, because for example, just like what Stephen have talked about, again, for the program starting on Sunday, what we are doing here is not necessary to get you that you in a way for you to register for the program. Black Tech, whether we do masterclass or not, all our classes are filled up before even class starts. I don't know how it happens, but that is the way it has been. The success stories speak for itself. But the essence of this meeting, like if you look at when we posted the flyer, that was last week. It was due to so many calls coming in, and we began to see that a lot of people do not have this full understanding of how and the skills required to really get into the Scrum Master job. That is what necessitated this masterclass, to help you to understand, so that you know that, hey, it's not that because somebody is doing it, then let me jump and do it. No. Ask yourself questions. Do I have these skills that we are mentioned? If not, how can I bridge the skills? Do the homework first. Gather the necessary, skills, foundation, then you launch it. You will do well. In Canada, the fastest way to lose your job is when you are always quiet in the meeting. A meeting is happening, but you cannot talk. Why? Lack of confidence. Why are you lacking confidence? No depth. Others are talking, you are quiet, and you say you're a Scrum Master. How do you now lead the team? How do you now influence others? How do you now even understand what others are doing? Let me stop here, because if you allow me, I might just stop from now till tomorrow. I'm very passionate about this because I see this every day. And that's why we're saying all this. We're not just talking about Scrum Master, but every other domain that you want to go into. Always try as much as possible to listen, look at your skill, and speak to the expert. Today, everybody is now a career coach. Make sure you speak to someone that have got that experience, that's able to understand where you are coming from and guide you, and be open to guidance and direction. Okay, let me stop here. I know there are a couple of hands up, but before we get straight into that, on the chart you can see NIPCA. So Black Tech is heavily collaborating with NIPCA. Some of you might know NIPCA already. NIPCA is Nigerian IT Professionals in Canada, a community where everything is free. Mentorship, job referrals, job support, name it. The link is on the chat. Click on that link right now to join, fill the form, and join the organization. It's free, completely free, right? Yeah, no membership fee, nothing. It's about empowerment, supporting the entire Nigerians in IT in Canada. But today, NIPCA is also going beyond Nigerians because we've got other folks. We have Jamaicans, Kenyans, and so many other races right now within the community. So join, collaborate with others, and get inspired as well. Okay? So let's take some questions. If you've got some questions, please raise your hands up. Use the reaction button. Let's see how many questions we're able to take because of time. Let me see some hands up. Then I would unmute you and then you can ask your question. Please, while asking the question, try to keep it brief. Please, straight to the point. This is my question. Then, of course, we'll get Stephen to answer the question right away. Let's start with Don Moses. Don, please unmute yourself.
Yes, hello, Osita. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much, Stephen. This is Moses here. So my question is, for someone with engineering background as myself, coming from the oil and gas industry and trying to pivot into IT as a Scrum Master or business analyst. So what are some of the experience or knowledge transferability that could be like a substitute for software development lifecycle knowledge that you mentioned? Because I've worked in many different projects in delivering in drilling of oil and gas and all that. And I'm also currently enrolled in Black Tech BA already. So what is your advice for someone from engineering background and with all the 7 attributes that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent question, Moses. Yeah, Steve will get to that. Meanwhile, how is the BA program going for you? I know you guys have been doing a couple of amazing things in your group. Can you speak a little bit about the BA program?
Yes. Actually, this is a program I would say we're getting more than what we paid for. The project, we're currently at the project stage. I'm part of the cohort, the 5th cohort right now. And yeah, it's been a very good experience collaborating and working with different people in my team. And yeah, we also have good guidance from the faculty. So thank you so much. It's been really great.
Excellent. Great, Moses. Yeah. So Steve, you're here, right? I can't see your face.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please. He's talking about engineering background. And he's currently working in the oil and gas sector. So he's kind of trying to understand what transferable skills would enable him pivot into Scrum. But he's already doing one of the key things you mentioned, which is a functional knowledge in business analysis. But yeah, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll answer his question. But once I finish, if you don't mind, also, I want ST to speak. I think she's one of your students and she just got a job. It's important for people to hear from people who have been through this process and who it has worked for. So if you don't mind, please, I'd like her to speak.
Yeah, that's fine.
She has graciously agreed to speak. Now, if you have an engineering background, there are 2 things that are working for you. Number 1, you understand processes. And right there in your business analysis course, I'm pretty sure you're going to do business process analysis, which is the same thing. You understand processes, you probably know how to use certain tools, and those skills are transferable. You also will have worked in a project environment, so you have understanding of what a PM's role is, what assurance and testing are, and all of those things. And you can easily map all of those ideas and skills to software development. What you're lacking is what you're already experiencing right now as a BA. Because as a BA, you're going to understand the SDLC, and you're going to have a level of knowledge on how software is built. So my advice to you will be pay attention in your BA class, learn as much as you can. And all those who are saying if you don't have IT knowledge, if you don't have IT skills, you can work as a Scrum Master. Nobody say you cannot work as a Scrum Master. don't forget also that companies are different. You that got a job in one company, you may not be able to get a job in another company. I'm giving you thoughts and idea that will make you to scale anywhere you go. Remember that it's not, I have people who have gotten jobs as a BA, and all they have been doing so far is schedule meetings, right? Because again, all kinds of things go on in the industry, but I'm not going to get into that. But what we're giving you is what will help you in any environment, right? Any environment whatsoever. If you go in there with understanding of the SDLC and you can speak to it, you'll be a winner. All right. So again, you have, as an engineer, you probably have been involved in all kinds of retrospectives and problem-solving meetings and collaboration, and all of that you will be able to bring into the industry. All right, Esty, please.
Okay, good. Thanks so much, Stephen, for that. Moses, I think that was helpful, right? Yeah, Esty, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie. And I want to say, before I go ahead, I want to say a big thank you to Osita and the Black Tech team. And thank you, Stephen, for an insightful presentation tonight. So
hold on. Are you?
It's me, Osita.
Your first stage. You know,
When was I first thing? When she started making money? You don't know money changes people.
Look at this lady. Look at you. I know you by Stephanie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in ST, and I was looking at the face. I was like, oh, look at you. Now the dollars are rolling in now.
It's dollars.
Yeah.
Dollars that cause the trouble.
So before she starts, obviously, see, there's something we are even trying to put together in the community, where we talk about alumni check-in once a month, where one or two alumni will come in and of course get others to speak and inspire them and encourage. Majority of the problem that people have sometimes is that confidence, lack of confidence and stuff, which is part of what we try as much as possible to improve, within professionals in our community. Stephanie was incredible. This lady got two offers. She was not.
Tell the story herself, Osita. That's what we call that. Tell her story herself.
Go ahead. Let me close my mouth.
Okay, so I don't have an IT background. I worked in the bank for about 14 years, customer service and then marketing, and then we moved to Canada. And I just, if you're here and you're in the BA class, just concentrate. That class is gold. I did a BA program before in 2019. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get myself to even, the confidence, like it just wasn't as in-depth. The quality of what I got in 2019 was not what I got at Black Tech. I started in January, the third cohort, end of January was when we started. And the support is incredible. Black Tech would open your mind to the possibilities. So if you're taking that program now, or if you're wondering what to do, and first of all, what I called Usita and he spoke to me and he gave me advice, and he said, okay, since based on my background, I should do the BA class. And I did that. And as the lectures, don't say, okay, I went on Saturday, I went on Tuesday, it's not enough. You go back, you study whatever you were taught in class. It opens your mind to even do more research. So I did that class. And then when the project came, I put my all into it. It wasn't convenient. I have 2 kids, so it wasn't convenient for me at all. And then finished and then during that, we had the resume. We helped to prepare our resume, and then the interview prep as well. You would get that support. And I went through that program, put my all into it. At the end of the day, I got 2 jobs in the US. And one of them was, and the jobs are out there. They are just so many. In fact, for me, I was like, first of all, the job has to be remote. There were just certain things I was looking for. So I was actually scanning and saying, okay, this one, no, I don't want, I want this one. And so I got the first job. and it's a supply chain company. And they're into e-commerce and a lot of things like that. And then the second one I got was a consulting firm in Michigan. They do businesses for the government of Michigan. And the funny thing was this second job, because I got the second offer on the day I started the first offer. And then they were like, and I told them, and they were like, I said, okay, let me think. A couple of days later, I told them, I said, well, because I wasn't ready. Osita, some people were like, oh, why don't you take the two jobs? But I rejected one of them. And these are 6 figures. When you change it to Canadian, they are 6 figures. And so they were even telling me that, okay, so if I don't know how to reject the first offer, they can help me to, craft a letter. They will write the letter for me. I shouldn't worry. They will tell me what to say, so that I don't create bad blood when I reject the first offer. Meanwhile, the first offer had shipped me equipment, computer, monitor, everything. They had shipped it. I'd received everything, so yeah, and when I got the first offer with what I got from Black Tech, I had the boldness, I sent Osita a message, but Osita is really busy, but I was still able to go by myself and negotiate the offer and get it up to a 6 figure. So now I'm earning almost 3 times what I was earning before I started. So it is possible. What you need to do is put your best into it. Black Tech is gold, I tell you, because I've done other BA programs. I even wrote the, when Stephen was, when he was talking, I was like, oh, Stephen is talking about me. I did the PSM, I did PSPO, but writing the exam is not enough. If you can't speak to it. I mean, even for myself, I was amazed. They were like, I went for this job that I got. The opening, it wasn't what I went for. They scheduled me for an interview for Salesforce. So I was looking for somebody who had about 10 years Salesforce experience. I didn't have it. And then she was like, oh, she has 2 roles out, the one for Salesforce. And then she created this role for me because she was like, oh, I like what I'm hearing. I really want to work with you. So the second role I have, I think is too low for you. You are really experienced. Experience is the project I did with Black Tech. She was like, I like what I'm hearing, as she created, she said, don't worry, just give me a couple of days. I'll talk to my boss, we'll create a role for you. I really want you to work with us. So in essence, the job that I'm doing now, it was not existent. They created it for me. So anything is possible. And like Osita will say, don't look at the JD and say, I can't do this one. No. Just if you have 70%, put your head inside. I didn't have the Salesforce they put me for. I didn't have that experience. And I told her upfront, I have a little bit of Salesforce experience, but I don't have 10 years Salesforce experience. And she was like, okay, fine, no problem. So she created this role for me. So anything is possible. All you need to do is be serious with this, put your back into it. And definitely. The rest is history.
Stephanie, there's something you said. You said you didn't have IT experience. The BA class you did, what did you think it gave you?
Oh, it gave me that exposure. It gave me
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, prior to my BA class.
Yeah, prior to your BA class, you may not have IT experience.
Yeah.
But you would not have gotten a job if not for the exposure you got at that BA class. And that's what people need to understand so that they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
If you had gone in there and be talking like a roadside mechanic or an engineering role, they will have thrown you out. You did not, and when you were speaking, because of the quality of training you got, it was believable that you already had 8 years experience. So people, everybody need to understand what we are saying. You need a training that allows you to speak like you have the experience. That's the point we're making. But you cannot do a 2 days program with no idea of what we're talking about and you go and do an interview and think you're going to get a job.
And a couple of days ago, my boss called me and told me, that she wants me to mentor some BAs. Wow. They have been in the company for some time. Wow. So like she wants me to mentor them,
I have a student, Stephanie, on the first day, Osita, one of my former students, the first day on the job, she taught our manager how to write acceptance criteria the way I taught them. First day on the job.
This is incredible. See again, Stephanie, I didn't even know you'd be here, right? I know we chatted on WhatsApp. Was it a few days ago on
Yes.
something completely different?
Mhm.
I'm happy hearing this from you, and I believe this has obviously inspired a lot here. The truth of the matter is that this is not rocket science. When we say these things, we are not saying it for saying sake, but we are saying it so that those that feel that they cannot will believe that they can. That is the truth.
Mhm.
You can. There's a lady yesterday, Nneka. Nneka yesterday called me 9 p.m. yesterday. What is the problem? When she sent a message, it's also that I have a small problem. I said, what is the problem again? Call me by 9. When I picked up the phone to speak with her yesterday, do you know what the problem is? She got an offer and she now got another offer. She's now contemplating which one. I say, God, look at, can you believe when somebody says I have a problem? That was the same situation with you then too, right? When you were saying your husband said you should go for this one, you say, no, me, I think this one I want to go. I say, can you believe this? This is what is called good problem. 2 jobs, you are now asking yourself which one to go for. And guys, it's not rocket science. This is commonplace in our community today. People are getting 2 jobs. For her, why she probably, and let me tell you, there are some that are taking up those 2 offers. Again, I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to say it. It's reality. Some people are working those 2. You know, when I just go say, I go runner. Some people, they're runner. I'm telling you, this is reality. But for her, of course, she has to look at her own, situation with 2 kids. Of course, it's going to be difficult for her to, do all that. But there are people today that probably have enough time on their plate and they are ready to run the thing. What are we saying? Impossibility is nothing. If you are here doubting yourself, believe in yourself. This is not a motivational program. I might sound a bit motivational. Yes.
I beg, let me read this thing to them. This is a student that says, today I taught my PM and senior BA the Gherkin syntax today. I'm sharing straight from my phone. If you can read what is on top there, she first said, it's amazing. You prepared me well.
No,
right?
I mean,
You prepared me well. First day on the job, she's teaching her BA how to write stuff.
So
you go and do 1-2 days program somewhere. You think you'll get a job? You're just wasting your time, really. Enough said.
Yeah, no, I mean, Stephen, spot on. Stephanie, I appreciate you for sharing. Sometimes people achieve success, but they just want to keep to themselves. I didn't ask you to share anything. I didn't even know who you were when I was looking at you. But when you now say my name is Stephanie, I was like, this woman. So that's when I even knew you are the one. But I really appreciate you. This is great inspiration. I can tell you that. Great inspiration you've shared tonight. So guys, let's go quickly because of time. I know we can just go on and on, but I know we have a few more hands up. Then another thing as well is this: Black Tech. We don't just do what we do, like going above and beyond. She was able to secure 6-figure jobs. Why? We also have sessions on negotiation. You can never take the first offer. Never. That's our mantra. You must negotiate, and there are strategies to negotiate. For the BA cohorts, I'm having a session with them this coming Saturday, and that session is about negotiation skills. How to negotiate your salary. The guys that are currently having program, I'm going to be meeting them. I'm the one that take that session. You will learn how to negotiate in such a way that you will make sure you don't leave money on the table. These things are strategy. And that's why we go above and beyond. Why? It is a calling for us. We do this thing passionately. Nobody charge you extra to say, because I want to prep you for interview, come and pay extra money. No. Incredible program at discounted rate. You can't see it anywhere. For the Scrum that is happening on Sunday, if you want to register for it, now we are going to be approving 50% discount for you. Anyone here now that wants to attend the Scrum, the 8 weeks, Steven says 6 weeks. 6 weeks is what we are looking at, but we might extend it to 8 weeks, probably to give more room for interview prep, resume review, and all those things. 50% discount. We are going to extend it between now and end of tomorrow. How do you redeem it? Send an email and mention it that you attended the Scrum Master program and you were extended 50% discount between today and tomorrow evening, because the class starts on Sunday. Saturday morning, all the people that have registered will be added to the Slack channel, because you're going to be using Slack for the program. Everyone added in Slack, and welcome email sent to everybody ahead of Sunday that you guys will kickstart. Okay? What a great Christmas for everyone. Okay, 50%. Somebody is chatting me on WhatsApp. Say 50% with question mark. Like, it's like, are you for real? Yeah, I'm for real. 50% discount. Okay. All right. So let's go quickly to the question because of time. Pamela, please go for it. Pamela, you have a question?
No, sir. I just wanted to raise my hand and say thank you for the 50%.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So I've just dropped an email. Look on the chat now. You see the email of Black Tech. Send the email. That's how you can redeem it and mention about the 50%. The team will be able to assist you further with how to go about it. Then for anyone that is having, you are not sure of what to do, like you are just thinking, what do I want to do with my career, my life? You are not even sure. Please, there's a phone number on the chat now. Chat that number on WhatsApp or give a phone call. When you call, you say you want to speak with OSITA or a career advisor. There's a team that will pick the call, but if you want to speak with me specifically, mention that you want to speak with me. They will transfer the call to myself, and hopefully I will have the bandwidth to speak with you. Phone number is on the chat right now. You use that to reach Black Tech any day, anytime. Please, let's get more of our people into this 6-figure. Very, very important, so that we can support our families. Ebun, E-B-U-N, Ebunoluwa, right? Please, you have a question?
Please. Yes, I do have.
Okay, please go for it.
Good evening. I want to appreciate both of you for this meeting. I will say that I was in a confused state before I joined this program, because I've spent, let me say, 17 years in the banking industry. Yes, I've been in operations, I've been in retail, I've done everything. So when I came into Canada, I spoke with a friend, and he said that because of where I'm coming from, I should go for product management, because that is what I've been reading and reading. I've read everything. I was about to write the certification when I got, and I asked, let me come for this. But from what I've had now, when he's talking about agile, and I can see that is a different ball game entirely. So I think I'm like confused. Where do I stand? Because I don't know. That's the truth.
Okay, so you've been in operation in the bank.
Marketing and operations. I did marketing and operations.
When did you come to Canada?
Came to Canada this year, January this year.
Okay, and which area do you want to go into? Like, what's on your mind? What are you trying to do?
On my mind, okay, because like I said, somebody quote me and said, because okay, I've done marketing on my like bank products. That was like, I said I should go into that, maybe product management. That was the advice I got. And that was what made me to be studying about product owner, Scrum Master. That's what I've been reading all along.
So have you done a proper training, or you are just self-studying?
Self-studying. I sent a mail to your people. They responded to me that they're not doing it right now. I got the response yesterday.
Oh yeah, we right now we don't offer product management. It's gonna come probably sometime early December. Right now the team, they are building out the whole thing that required for that to happen. But what you are doing right now in terms of the self-study, how is it coming along for you? Are things making sense to you? Are you enjoying it?
I won't lie to you, very well.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it very well.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So it's good, right? Product management, of course, when you've done that, and the next thing, you probably want to write the exam too, right? I think that is okay, in my opinion, because the challenge is you are doing something and it's not making sense to you. That is really a big challenge. But you are studying, and it's making sense. You are really understanding what product management is all about. Yes. I would say give it your all, right? Then of course, maybe what you need is additional, like a mentor. Like you have somebody that
Okay.
is already within that space that you can always call and, exchange notes and give you some guidance. That's probably what you need. And again, trust me, you can do it. You can.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when
Can
when are you
can
likely
So, sorry, 1 second. Evan, go ahead. When can you what?
when are you likely going to have this course? Okay, you said December, right?
Yeah, okay, for Black Tech, yes. It's something
Yes.
that is something that I know for sure. I will discuss with the operations team because there have been a lot of people really inquiring on product management as well. So it's either end of November, that is like or early December. I'm not sure. But again,
Okay.
I will find out, okay, and share with you. I think
Okay.
yeah, if you can send me an email tomorrow,
Okay.
I will be able to
Okay.
give you the exact timeline for that, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Then Stephen want to chime in here as well. Stephen, please.
Yes, I just wanted to help her and help other people. When you look at business analysis, for example, there is business analysis outside the realms or the domain of IT.
Okay.
You don't need no IT understanding or knowledge to be able to be a business process analyst if you're not in the IT industry. The same thing with product management. We live in a productized world now, and almost every company is taking product management very seriously. There is
Okay.
product management outside IT.
Okay.
And if you can study like you say you're studying and put yourself together and get some help with your resume, you can find a job as a product manager outside IT. However, IT is where the money really is. You can earn as low as $40,000 as a product manager in certain industries, but you can't earn less than six figures as a product manager in any solid IT industry. So you want to really become a product manager in the IT industry. And for that, you will need understanding of agile product delivery, agile product management. You will also understanding of some fundamental things around software development and IT processes. So I will also advise you go and do that BA class. You see, that business analysis program is fundamental because it introduces you to that whole industry. It gives you the underpinning knowledge to say that you are an IT person. So if I were you, I would jump into that BA program, even get a BA job if I can, while building my product management knowledge. When it also comes to product management, domain knowledge is also key.
Yep.
Right? So not only do you want to have IT knowledge, if you're going to be selling the Salesforce product, for example, you will need to have Salesforce knowledge. You're going to be selling Jira. So people don't understand how this whole ecosystem works, and that's why they get into trouble. But the best advice I can give you, do the Black Tech BA program, get that fundamental foundation of an IT person, and then take it from there. Because doing a product management certification also would not translate into a job for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephen. People give. I wanted to do the BA. Somebody said I shouldn't do it. That it would be too tough. Thank you so much for this. I think I know what I want to do.
Our people, everybody try to sound like an expert.
They told me not to do it. It's too tough.
Even in the chat, everybody that is in Nigeria, we're all experts. And unfortunately, they will mislead you.
Yeah. So what's her name? Ebon, look at Stephanie. Look at Stephanie's story. She was in the bank as well. Then customer service. And here she is. Right? So again, for me, sometimes I don't even want to talk too much about BA because part of my strategy within the ecosystem in Black Tech is also to help our people to focus on other areas in IT. That is why today Black Tech have 10 programs: cloud computing, Salesforce, Python, data analytics, and so on and so forth. The essence is people can focus. But if you don't have that core traditional IT background, let me tell you something. The best bet is business analysis, because that will help you with the foundation. You will even begin to understand what is requirement, What is a business need? How do I state requirement? How do I, you understand this baseline. Then you move into SDLC, like Steven said, understand the concept, how to build a software, what are the different phases, from planning to analysis to design to implementation to deployment. You understand all this. Then you move into the tools, Jira, Conference, Figma. How do I use Visio, LucidChat? When you do all this, you move into projects. Your life will never remain the same after you are done with this 3 months program. And that's why some people will say, I have done a BA, but I didn't get a job. Because of that, they will now speak to other people not to do it. When I hear such, when I ask the question, where did you do the BA? You will find out that some of this is, oh, it was a 6 weeks program. Oh, it was a 7 weeks program. Where did you do? They will just mention one place. These are challenges. There are a lot of trainings out there that are half-baked as well. That is part of the problem. So you go for a half-baked program, you finish in 6 weeks, you are now asking yourself, what do I do? You are confused after 6 weeks. No practical, no project. Are you doing BA to go and speak grammar in the office?
No.
BA is not about English. You got to get your hands into the system. So how do you do 6 weeks, 7 weeks program, and you're not jumping to come and become a BA? Some people might do it, but many have done it, and today they are just stagnant. They don't know what to do, whether to go forward or backward. And those people are the people that will now tell other people, don't do BA, because their experience has not been good enough. But you have listened to a lady now, 6 two-figure job, and she was completely looking for which one to take at the end of the day. And it's not only her. Black Tech record 20-something job offers every month. I have never seen any organization today that can boast of what we are doing in Black Tech in this country. I'm not saying it because I'm the founder, but I'm telling you reality. All the faculties give their 110% best. 20-something job every month is not a child's play. Every month. Why are we doing this? We are focusing on job, not training. Many organizations focus on training. We focus on job. And why do we focus on job? We focus on job because the essence of training is to get a job. So you do the training, you do the practical, you do the project, we do resume review, interview preparation, we even do work experience. If you don't have experience, we can put you in a situation whereby you can get work experience from Black Tech. That has broken the so-called Canadian, what's it called? Canadian experience for many people today. What are we talking about? You cannot have skills and you are sitting because they said you don't have Canadian experience. There are ways to break it. So it's about solution.
Okay.
Kai, oh, I'm talking too much. Let me stop.
Okay.
Thank you, Ebu. Let's go to Francis.
Okay.
Francis, please. Make it fast, guys. Everybody. Make it fast. Make it fast. Yes.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate Stephen and Austin, everyone that I've spoken with. Thank you so much. Currently, I work in an hospital, and I'm looking into transiting as well. I've done 1 or 2 certifications myself. But my question is, being a worker of hospital, we have shifts, so might not be able to be available during the time of the training. It might fall in one of my shifts. Now, in such case, is there going to be a recording that I can listen to when I'm off shift, or how does that work?
Yeah, so let me take that quickly. All sessions are recorded, right? So recorded and shared with you. So you have access to all the recording. You can go over any recording that you missed. Today, we have so many folks that are working at PSW in our programs.
Okay.
PSW, they have one of the craziest shifts.
Yeah.
We have so many of them in our programs today. Customer service folks, we have so many. So yes, another thing that I've also mentioned to folks is this. This is your career. You want to achieve something. What do? You must find a way around it. There are some that have reached out to Black Tech for a letter of enrollment. Their employer asks them for letter of enrollment to show that they enroll for program, and this is the program timelines and all that. Based on that letter, their employer will now allow them to we kind of excuse them to go for the program. So there are a lot of strategies around it. So you can speak with your manager, speak with your employer, and see possibilities. Where that is not possible and you think you can miss 1 or 2 classes, recording is there for you to catch up. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go to Izu. Izu, in 10 seconds, please.
Hey, Steve, thank you for the wonderful presentation. OC, thank you for organizing this. Steve, you talked about other industry using Agile, especially Scrum framework, but you only hammered on the IT industry. Can you expand on other industry, how they implement Agile, and because not everybody wants to be in IT industry? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Izu, for that question. Steve is still here.
Yeah,
Before
sure.
Steve chime in, Izu, what kind of hammer did you use? You say he hammered. What kind of hammer? Steve, go for it.
Short answer, I don't know. To be honest, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to try and tell you what I don't know. I don't work in those industries, and I work in the IT industry. However, I do know that HR and marketing, especially, are seriously using Agile. In fact, in Portfolio Safe, we start to develop the portfolio plan right from when you are defining strategic themes, and we include those two domains. But again, it's a different domain, and it's something you can research. This is about Agile in IT. That's what I'm an expert on. I'm not a jack of all trades.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve, for that. That's a great response. Of course, one is to specialization is key, and that is also part of what I think is important. So Izu, again, Black Tech, of course, we want tech. Everything we do focuses on tech. The world is going to tech. Tech is the future. So if, depending on your background, I'm not sure what your background is. If you think you need more discussion on this, please feel free to reach out after the session and we can talk more on that, okay? Because of time, let's move quickly to Kelly. Kelly, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Osita and Stephen. I gained a lot. Please, I wanted to ask a question. The requirements that Stephen brought up for us just now, especially the first two. Okay, I work in the construction industry as a project engineer, and I've worked in project management, in construction project management for a number of years. I wanted, because I've been thinking of moving into IT project management. So I noticed in the first two requirements, especially the second one, it said basic IT knowledge. Then in bracket, in parentheses, one of those examples they gave was PM. I want to believe that is IT project management. So what I'm trying to see, I've asked a lot of people these questions, but nobody has been able to give me a concrete answer. I believe this is a good platform to ask that. How can I move what exactly, which of this program would you advise for me to move from construction project management into IT project management? Thank you. That's my question.
I'm trying to really properly understand your ask, but if I think I hear you correctly, project management is domain agnostics, right? If you're a PMP, you understand how to plan projects, how to execute it. So if you have project management knowledge, you are halfway there. All you are going to need is to know how to bake the bread. So you will need to understand how software is developed. That, I keep saying, is a foundational knowledge to know the process of how software is built if you're going to work in the software development industry. Now, you don't have to be an expert. It's like working in project management in construction. I'm sure if you're not an architect, you cannot develop architectural plans. But if you're an IT, I mean, if you're a construction project manager, you should be able to some extent, read architectural plans. You might not be a mason, but you should be able to understand when someone says, my mix, the ratio is bad or the ratio is not correct. If you don't understand those things, your effectiveness as a manager in that domain or in that industry will not be as high as those who understand it. That's a simple thing I'm saying. So again, for you, you can go into IT project management. And by the way, as an IT project manager, you will need to learn some coding. You don't need to learn software development in detail. And again, of course, it also depends on what company you're working in and what you actually do. Because another thing I found out that these companies put out jobs there, they give all kinds of titles, but what you are actually required to do is different from the title. I've seen jobs advertised as data analyst. Meanwhile, what they're looking for is a project manager and vice versa. Sometimes some of those HR people are not well advised. But if it is IT project management you are going to be doing exactly, you're going to need to understand how software is built. Because if, for example, the developers have their development environment down and they are trying to tell you that, but you don't even know what the development environment is. They're trying to tell you that staging has been a problem. You don't know what staging is. How do you even communicate? How can you be a project manager in the construction industry, for example? You don't know what roof is. You don't know what foundation is. You don't know what pillars are. You don't know. So someone said that. I mean, you have to have the basic understanding of what goes on in that industry. That's what I'm saying. When I say IT experience, I don't mean you have to have learned coding or anything, but you have to be able to carry on simple conversation. What is testing? What is retrogression testing? What is unit testing? You're talking to testers. You're talking to developers. They're telling you they are merging their code. You know, and you're looking like you say merge. What does that mean? Like I had one guy who came to interview one day. He said he has experience in cloud. I said, "What is cloud technology?" He said, "It's the satellites." A satellite. True story.
Unbelievable.
True story. True story. It just occurred to me to just ask him to define cloud technology. He said it's satellite when you But if somebody had told him he needed IT experience, he would say, "Oh, I don't need IT experience. I'm a Scrum Master."
Yeah, so let's move because of more questions. Steve, this is a conversation that will never end, I can tell you, because we are seeing so many things in the industry. And that is why. So like what you are saying is very, 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 very logical. But sometimes, there's something called experiential knowledge and something called textbook knowledge. So sometimes we see people focusing on more of textbook knowledge. You don't have a domain experience in a particular area. You just grab the book, you read, and you just want to jump into that stuff just like that. That is where people struggle. And of course, that people get fired as well. People get fired. People get fired, but nobody talks about it. Go to LinkedIn.
Every day, people are losing these jobs.
Yeah, go to LinkedIn.
To be honest with you.
In LinkedIn,
and it's worse. You do these kind of things, you get a 6-figure job, you go and buy an expensive car, you purchase a house, you have mortgage. After 4 months, 6 months, you lose the job. You're going to be worse than those who didn't get 6-figure jobs.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to get the job, it's another thing to be able to keep it. Every day, people who find a way to get into these things without learning the things they're supposed to learn, they are losing those jobs. That's a fact.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And again, guys, what we are doing here is to, help us to improve our horizon so that you see a lot of possibilities. It's not like anybody is trying to scare anybody to say you must do this before this. It's all about trying to understand. If you don't learn addition, how do you want to do division and multiplication? Everything sometimes have strategy, have steps. So it's very important. Guys, because of time, again, Stephen, I'm not sure if you still have some bandwidth. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if we can take this 4 and we call it a wrap because of time, guys. Kelly, unmute yourself. Please try to make it brief, please.
No, I've asked my question. You just answered me. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to Momo. Momo, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So, yeah, so I was in the other data analyst class. You asked me to call. I did call because of voice no response. So I will now force that.
Okay, we haven't spoken yet.
We haven't.
Okay. Sorry about that. Call me by 11 p.m. today. Are you awake by 11?
Yes, that's 9 p.m. my time. I'm on MST.
So thank you. Call me by 11. I'll be waiting for you.
Then my question is, would you guys offer something like this before the BA class session?
How do you mean by something like this? I don't understand.
As in to talk about BA and to just make people understand what just the way you organize this.
So we have your master class coming up on the 20th of this month. Let me see. I think I have the link here. Let me post it so you can register. Yes, we have your master class coming on the 20th. That is going to focus on business analysis. So many things have been said about business analysis. On the 20th is going to be a great day. We are going to unpack all these things. So 1 second, I'm dropping it on the chat right now. Okay, yeah. So click on the link and you will see the free masterclass on business analysis coming up on 20th of this month.
Okay, awesome. Then I'll call you 11 p.m. then.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Festus, please go for it.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for this class and for it's encouraging to hear this, but some of us are not so fortunate to have heard about Black Tech before we started doing some of our certifications. I have done the Certified Scrum Master, the Professional Scrum Master, some SAFe certification, and I have some background. But recently moving to Canada, you get this roadblock of the Canadian experience. As I am speaking to you, I have an interview with CIBC on Monday. I have learned something from what you're saying. But I just wanted to understand, people do not go to these classes. Sometimes they go because of lack of knowledge. I'm saying if you have anything that can help some of us who moved from the States, who've had some of this certification, but we're not fortunate to be in such a community like this to help them out. That's what I'm asking about.
Okay, so you've done Scrum Master already, and
yes,
so the interview you have is for what?
It's for Scrum Master position.
Scrum Master. Okay, have you done a training on Scrum Master yet, or you do self-study?
I did. I have professional Scrum Alliance PSM. I've done everything.
No,
and I practiced,
that's theory now. That was 2 days training. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I did that in 2018. I have been a Scrum Master for 2 years in the US before I came.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I did the Advanced Certified Scrum Master class, and this July I did my PMP and my Professional Scrum Master.
Fantastic, man! You've got all the necessary skills. The 2 years Scrum Master in US that you did, was it like proper Scrum Master stuff, like hands-on?
Yeah, I was. Yes, hands-on.
Okay, so then what else do you need? What else do you think you need?
The problem is when you go for an interview, this is not the first time going. They have this so-called Canadian experience, and it's been a bummer for some of us.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, US, Canada is still, in a way, still some environment, kind of, right? And again, nobody talks about Canadian experience. Even hiring manager, recruiter will not mention that to you. That is one of those silent things that nobody talks about, but it exists. You understand? They won't mention it to you. So I'm not sure. I think we need to talk. Let me know how we can support, right? If you think you want to bounce off idea with someone, maybe a Scrum Master, I can make that happen for you. So you just bounce off idea with the person ahead of the interview. That might help. But for me, trust me, you're already good. You've done 2 years of Scrum Master. You have the certificate PSM. You have project management certificate. But most importantly is that you worked in US as a Scrum Master. You are qualified. That's my opinion to you, right? So again, there are some things that are also self-imposed. The so-called Canadian experience might not be you imposing that on yourself as a limitation. That's another thing too. So you need to also check yourself and check your mind, right? Because you might impose something on yourself without knowing it, thinking that, hey, these guys are thinking about Canadian experience, but nobody's thinking about it, right? So let's have a chat. Call me tomorrow. Let's talk. Let's talk tomorrow, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's move to the last person, please. Joshua. Joshua, are you there? Okay. So let me post the YouTube link of Black Tech. So there are so many things master classes, programs, and we have them on the YouTube of Black Tech. So do well to subscribe. Click on the link. I just sent it right now. Click on the link and subscribe to the YouTube channel, including these sessions. These sessions will be uploaded as well on the YouTube channel so that you're able to subscribe and watch it. For those that are already asking about the recording, yes, it's going to be uploaded on the YouTube channel. The link has just been shared right now with us. Do well to subscribe to it. Then for those that want to join Black Tech, we have a community like where we share information. Everybody there get the information before it goes out. You might also want to do that as well. I'm pasting that right now in the chat. It's a Telegram community. So do well to click on that to join the Telegram community as well. Black Tech Telegram community. What else? What else do we need to give to you guys? I think we are done, guys, for the day. Let me stop the recording.